Hey, 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 guys. Altavice Pelzer here, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. And this is another episode of the hashtag Speak Easy podcast. Guys, this is going to be an awesome conversation. You know how when you find somebody and then you hear their story and you hear what they do and see what they do, and then you kind of sort of stalk them, kind of sort of in a legal way, if there is one. That is definitely how I connected with today's guest. And I know that the things that will be shared on today's episode are going to be some great tips. So make sure that this is one of those ones you have your notebook and your pen ready because you're going to want to go ahead and jot down some of the gems that are going to be dropped during this episode. With that being said, hello, Tommy. How are you?
I am good. It's Friday today, and I love Friday.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So I'm excited. Um, I, Listen, somebody was like, "Oh my goodness, I heard Tommy's story. He's going to be a great, person for your podcast. You definitely need to connect." And so then I did a little, cyber stalkering on Clubhouse and of course on Instagram. But what I found and what I heard was definitely something that it resonated with my heart. So, with that being said, Tommy, let the studio audience know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go ahead and dive into today's topic.
Okay. My name is Tommy Gerasi, and I started out on social media in 2009. I joined Twitter because Oprah was joining Twitter and Ashton Kutcher was on her show and he was talking about this platform. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I also felt like, yeah, I love Ashton, I love Oprah, and I'm going to watch them this weekend and I'll never use this thing again because it's just going to be one of those things where you sign up and you do it for the weekend and then by Monday you're bored. But from that Friday, I never got off the thing. I swear I just was like on it, on it, on it. And I started growing a following because I was talking about things that were authentic to me. So I really love entertainment. And I would see people watching television shows, and I'd be, oh, if you're watching that show and I'm watching that show, I'm going to tweet about this show too. And just what I found funny about sitcoms I was watching. So from that, TV Land actually, there was a show with Fran Drescher on it at the time called Happily Divorced. And I was tweeting that show. And then the next morning I woke up and TV Land reached out to me and they were like, do you know that one of your tweets reached 5 million people last night? And I was like, no, I didn't know that because I'm just having fun. So they were like, well, we would like you to come down to the main headquarters and tweet, like have a tweet party. And during the show, we'll all be together with like our social media teams. And I was like, that's fascinating to me. Let's do it. So I did that. And then that went into Hot in Cleveland with Betty White. And that went into me going to LA for other things other than TV Land. But if they knew I was going, they would say to me, go see the show live and then tweet about it. Like go there and be on set. So that meant having access to the set, having access to behind the scenes. So I started doing that. And that was amazing to me. And then Entertainment Tonight actually must have seen something of mine, or a friend of mine that worked for Entertainment Tonight saw me doing this. And they were like, well, we do every award season, we do parties with Vanity Fair and we have people come in to tweet this. So if you wouldn't mind flying to LA, and who wouldn't mind flying to LA anyway, right? A couple of
Right.
times a year, I was like, yeah, let's do it. So started doing that. And from there, they were like, would you like to go on a red carpet and interview the celebrities? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm so shy. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do it. Because I also feel like if you don't say yes to things, you never know. So I said yes and went on the carpet, nervous, 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 but got through the first one. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I mean, it's what I always wanted to do. Because when I was a kid, I used to play like Entertainment Tonight anyway. I'd interview everybody and anybody. From the time I was like 3, I believe, my parents told me I was asking questions of adults like, what do you do for a living? Do you like that? Or what is it about? I didn't know what they were talking about. But they would explain to me that there was scientists that my father was friends with, and they would explain these things to me. And I was like, okay. But it worked. So I started doing that. And then that went on for years. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everything stopped. So I was like, what am I going to do now? I had started a blog too, but blogging to me, when you write, it's okay. It's just that it's not next level. And we have this technology now that's next level where you can do podcasts. And people kept telling me, do a podcast. And I was like, nope, I don't have time to do that. I'm okay with this. But the pandemic left a hole in the interaction part. So I was like, I need to figure out a way to bring these people in. So I started doing the podcast and I would bring people in to do it. And it was people that were actors and singers and musicians and all kinds of entertainment people. But then I found Clubhouse and I started meeting people and I started realizing as they were telling their stories, I'm like, these people have similarities with celebrities. They don't even know they have it. Like each person that gets up to speak their truth and their story inspires people. So you don't have to be an actor or an actress to do that. So I started incorporating those people in it now. And it's just like better and better all the time. And I get people, I feel like when you hold space for somebody and you do it the right way, you bring out the bare basics of the story that everyone can relate to. So it's not like this thing where people look at it and go, okay, well, he was in conversion therapy, but I've never been in conversion therapy. So I don't understand that at all. And I'm hearing his story, but I don't understand it. But when you go down to the basics of like, this is what it is about, and it's the human level, then everybody can understand that that's you. It's not them anymore. It's you. And I like to make people realize that there is no them, it's us. So, because when you make somebody a them or an other, it's easy to just avoid their story altogether. Like, those people are having that problem, but that's not me, so I'm good. But if you see it's us, then we all have this problem. Everybody has this problem. If it's racism, we all have this problem. If it's people that don't have enough money to eat, we all have this problem. Political, it's all our problem. So don't put it on them. And I love doing that.
So that's why y'all see why I told y'all this was going to be a great episode. When you think about that transition, Speakeasy podcast listeners, you guys know in entrepreneurship, sometimes it's a gamble. Sometimes it's just you doing something and you kind of getting adjusted to it. And I know right now Clubhouse is everything when it comes to being able to connect with people and hear stories and kind of share your own stories. But it's significant that you pay attention to what Tommy said. Like he went from signing up for Twitter and following some people that he liked to being on the red carpet. Like, don't diminish that at all. That is one heck of a journey. And to be able to live the life that you want to live.
And say yes to things more than no, unless the energy is wrong. Pay attention to energy, because if the energy is wrong, don't feel guilty about saying no. But if the energy is right, say yes. Because I ended up producing a television series, helping to produce a television series, a movie. I've done music videos with people where I'm producing them and bringing their talents out, and it feels good and it feels right. So I say yes. Just say yes.
Wait. So we went from Twitter to the red carpet to producing videos. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you do these things, you meet these people, and it's just the connections and the energy connection. If it's right, it's right. And there's a television series that I was watching called Eastsiders, and I loved it. And then I met the people who were producing it and writing it and directing it, and I was friends with them for a while and didn't think anything of it. But then they decided that they were going to bring it onto Netflix or try to get it to Netflix, but they needed to produce it right. So they reached out to people to invest, and I was like, okay, let me get in on this, because I really believe in this show, because the show itself was doing that. It was reaching people that hadn't been reached before. It was representing people that hadn't been represented before. So I jumped in there and I was like, let's do it. And the third season, we got nominated for Daytime Emmys. And then the fourth season, we won a few Daytime Emmys. We had the first drag queen, Willem. If anybody is familiar with Willem from RuPaul's Drag Race, he was nominated for an Emmy, which had never been before, because no drag queen had ever been nominated for an Emmy for an acting role. They had been nominated for Emmys for RuPaul's show, being themselves, but never for acting. And then Willem also went on to be in A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga. So these things just birth themselves in a natural flow, I think. And Willem won he was nominated, and I believe he won the Emmy. So it's like you get a groundbreaking thing like that happens. And then I met people from American Idol who, after they do Idol and their contract runs out with Idol, they're left to figure out their careers on their own. So they're really talented people. I mean, Effie Pissarro, David Hernandez, the two most talented people I know, and I'm really good friends with them. And then it became natural. Like, you guys have this great song. You want to do a video to it? Let's make a video. Let's do this. Let's do that. And you do it. And you say you're supporting somebody that you actually care about. You know they have talent. The energy is there. And you know that it's affecting other people in a positive way. So why say no? Say yes. If you can do it, say yes.
Oh, that's so significant too, because we are creating space to be able to bring other people into it. Like, we're creating
Mhm.
platforms to be able to say, okay, I've made it to this level, and now you guys can come and make a couple steps up and do something, or even go a couple steps higher than what I've done because of what I've been able to do. And that is, like, when I tell you, I'm getting all the feels right now, because when we think about history, there have been those that have created opportunities, and then there have been those that have kind of stamped out opportunities and tried to hide opportunities. And we're like, why? There is so much available out here for all of us. If we just go ahead and help and support each other, then we can go further. We can do so much more. So I absolutely love that.
And don't be afraid. You have to remember that every person you admire, somebody gave them their first chance.
Yeah.
So if you can be the person to give someone a chance or help someone to get a little bit ahead, that's going to bring them where they belong. And the thing about Clubhouse too, that's amazing, is that a lot of people are so surprised by it, but I'm really not, because I feel like it's a microcosm of the bigger picture. So many of us have been doing this in our lives already, and now it's being brought down into like this smaller level on a screen, and you're just like, wow, all these connections. But if you think about your life, that's how your life works, and you just need to open up to it more. And somehow it's easier to do it online. In Clubhouse, you're like, oh, you do things you might not have done in real life, but with a little more ease. And if you can apply that into your life again in a bigger way, you got it.
Yeah,
That's the
I tell people, I think about Clubhouse as like the playground. When we were
mm,
back in grade school and elementary school, like, that's what it is. You go in, you find somebody that's doing something that you like, and you're like, hey, you want to be friends? And it sounds weird coming out of my mouth as an adult.
yeah. Well, we don't think like that when we're adults. We're adults. Everything is like, what is that? What person doing? I don't know. I don't think that. If we keep having those thoughts in our head that are stopping us from it, don't think in your head, thinking over here. Think in your heart and what it feels like. If the energy is good, go for it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely made an impact in business for me,
Mhm.
because it allowed me to go and make some great connections. It's allowed me to go and have some great conversations. And I think we are at a point, let's just be real, most of the social media sites do not give the same feel that Clubhouse gives, because they're not building on community, they're not building on conversation as much as Clubhouse is. Like,
I also have to be careful of that just that feeling of people who want to go on there and leverage everything. Because if you're leveraging everything all the time, you're not getting any value from it, and you're doing it from the wrong place. So if your intention is wrong, the outcome is going to be wrong. So I don't do intent. I don't do it like I want to leverage this person. How can I leverage this relationship? No, let the relationship develop, and then it's going to tell you what it wants you to do or what it needs you to do. But you can't have an idea. I met this person and this is what I want from them right now. No, that's not going to work.
I'm sitting here like ready to do a backflip, because one of the things I always tell people is, you stop trying to leverage people, leverage opportunities, not people.
Yeah.
You leverage opportunities. So when you're given an opportunity, you leverage that. Don't leverage people, create community with people, create conversations, create art with people, but don't leverage people, because
No.
it always backfires on you.
Well, leverage is like another word for using. So you don't want to use a person. It's terrible. And then at the end of the thing, you end up with an enemy for no reason, or a person that ends up feeling badly because they feel like they were used. And in a way, you did use them, because your intention going into the thing wasn't to find out how, I don't want to get to know this person. I want to get to know what this person can do for me. No, that's icky all around.
True indeed. True indeed. I have to agree with you there. And that's another reason why I said it was so valuable, after hearing your story and having you, come onto the show, because I said, as entrepreneurs, we really do battle these things in our head on a day-to-day basis. Like, this is not something where you overcome it and then everything's right in the world. No,
No.
you literally have this struggle day to day. So from you, Tommy, what has been the struggle for you day to day that you kind of still go back and forth with yourself about?
Well, one of the big struggles I had, especially before the pandemic, was trusting my own intuition because you question it. So when you meet somebody and you say, the energy is off with this person, but I'm going to say yes because I feel guilty saying no. Maybe I'm judging them. And then you say yes. And then you're in this big turmoil and it turns out wrong. And you're just like, if I would have just trusted it 6 months ago or a year ago, I wouldn't be in this situation. So that is one of the things that I don't feel like ashamed to say that I ended up getting a spiritual life coach that I worked with for about 5 months, 4 months. And it helped me so much to learn that my intuition is valuable and I can trust it and I should trust it. And how to get in touch with the difference between if I have that feeling where I'm feeling guilty about something, saying no to it, just analyze, not analyze it more, but feel on it more and then say, okay, I'm totally okay with the process and I know it's okay to say no now and I have no guilt about this. So if you need that extra step, take it. But most of the times you can just go with your intuition and say, you know what? No, that's it. I don't even need a day to think about this. It's no.
I need y'all. I hope y'all paid attention to that. If not, press pause, rewind it back. He just said it is okay to say no and not feel guilty about it.
Boundaries. Set your boundaries. Always set your boundaries. I
Yeah.
say do it like people do it on a movie set. So actor comes in and they ask for the biggest trailer, not because they're necessarily egomaniac, but because they've earned the right and it's their value. They're valued at that level. And if you accept a smaller one, you'll never get a bigger one. And also when you find your light, make sure that light's always on you in the right way so that you're being shown properly because you deserve it. And why not? I mean, it's not, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not demanding, it's boundaries. There's a difference between being demanding and having boundaries. You don't want to demand things you're not deserving of. But if you're deserving of something, I don't see anything wrong with asking for it.
That's another big one. I hope y'all are writing this stuff down. Ask for it. Stop thinking it in just in your, because I tell people we have a story that we have in our head, and oftentimes it's just a story in your head. It's not necessarily how they're going to act or react to whatever it is you're going to say, but it's the story we tell ourselves. And man, if we got to have that battle. Like, I love that you said that you have the coach, because we got to battle the story we tell ourselves in our head. And the only way we do that sometimes is by having somebody that we can talk to about it and say, and be honest and transparent and say, listen, this is what's going on. What do I need to do?
Yeah, and be accountable. You need somebody to make you accountable for the things that you can be the worst enemy of yourself because you can trick yourself into believing things that aren't true. So you need somebody that says, hey, take a step back from that. And I want you to write it down and I want you to leave it for a minute and then come back to it later or reword that. Don't say it that way. Say it. I mean, the biggest thing I learned too was the I am sentences that we use in our head. So instead of saying I'm not good enough, you say I am good enough. I am, or if I'm not good enough right now, I am good enough. I am as good as I can be right now and I will get better at that. I am going to get better. It's always everything after that I am is so important. So if you're putting negative things after an I am, yeah, you're going to always be in a negative space. But if you put positive things, even if you're not feeling positive, it'll uplift you a little bit, even if it's just a little bit. At least you're a little higher than you were yesterday. So, and a coach will make you accountable. And when you start backtracking that speech, they're like, nope, rewind, start the sentence again. You know what to say. And you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot the I am part. Okay, fine.
Okay, so in everything that you've done, because see, you've like completely like bypassed everything that stuff that I've heard, because I'm like, oh my goodness, he's done so much more. What has been your greatest project so far?
I think the greatest project was myself. Because if I didn't work on myself to get to the level I am now, I wouldn't be making the connections I'm making today because I'd be on Clubhouse or I'd be on social media thinking I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough for these people, I'm afraid to speak up or I'm afraid of standing up, I'm afraid of being myself. So I think working on yourself is the greatest project you could have. And then all the other things are just the little awards that you pick up along the way for the work that you've done on yourself.
That was powerful. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here like, I just want to hug him and squeeze him. If it wasn't Corona,
It takes a long time to realize it, but after a while, you're just like, oh yes, before the pandemic.
right?
The
If we didn't
pandemic has
have all
ruined
that.
everything.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So now that I done got all of the giddiness out, right? Uh, so what's coming up next? Or what's coming up next that you can share with us? But what do you have coming up next? Because I know you've done a lot in a short period of time. So
Yeah.
are there any like big projects that you're thinking about?
I'm waiting for everything to open up again to do any producing or anything in the entertainment space. So for now, it's the podcast I'm going to concentrate on and a lot of Clubhouse stuff. I've been in a lot of rooms about mental health. So I've been speaking on that or encouraging other people and holding space for other people. And then my podcast, I've been branching out to people who I just interviewed someone who had been kidnapped by his own parents because he ran away. He came out to them and they were not happy because they're religious and he ran away. But instead of them letting him be, they had hired someone to kidnap him and bring him back so they can put him in a facility so he could be goes through conversion therapy. And they actually locked him away against his will. And he was 16 and he was there for a few years. So that story. And then I met today someone who was a victim of sex trafficking. So I'm going to have him on to talk his story. And then tonight, and I think on Fridays from now on, I'll be a part of something called Finity Lives. Joe Finity, the journalist, he has his own show on Facebook and he's going to incorporate it into Clubhouse. So while he's doing his Facebook Live thing, I'm going to co-host on Clubhouse and bring that audience in to the show as well. And I'm excited about that. And then there's an app for men's health called Tether app. And I'm going to be speaking with them quite often on Clubhouse now about men's mental health because men don't want to talk about mental health. They're told not to. And we're trying to say, you must and you should and you have a right to. So let's do it. And when you start giving them spaces and you hold space for people like that and let them know they're safe, you can't imagine the stories that they will tell. And it's amazing that they've bottled this up for so many years.
I mean, can I just say, and we haven't met in person just yet, but I am so proud of what you are doing.
Oh, thank you.
Like,
I'm just doing what I called to do. Whatever the next thing calling me is, that's what I'm doing.
yeah, but I know that when it comes to when you're doing like such hard work, it's oftentimes a thankless job because you have so many people that they think. Listen, when it comes to podcasting, I still have people that look and say, "So you're running your mouth." Gee, thanks.
There's a lot more to that. There's a lot more to. I mean, it's and the other thing, the rewards come from the interactions with people. Like
Mhm.
the person who was the sex trafficking victim that I asked to be on the show, I met him today in the men's mental health room. And I reached out to him and we were following each other already, but I didn't think anything of it. So I reached out to him a little while ago and first thing he came back with was, I'm so glad you asked me this because I've been following you around to different rooms for a long time. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had the courage to get up on stages and speak about my story. And I was like, oh my God, like that. So how is that not a reward in itself? I mean, to know that and a few people have told that to me where they like, I follow you in these rooms and I get on stages because you encourage people to do that or you encourage me to do that personally. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That's why I'm jumping in the mental health rooms because I feel like even if I don't have a story, I share my story when I feel that I need to. But even if I don't have a story that day and I'm just saying, listen, I'm here and I want you to know that you guys are safe and you can come up and be vulnerable and that, your vulnerability is your superpower and don't ever think it's not, and also don't do things you don't feel comfortable with. So if you're not comfortable today to come up, don't. But if you want to reach out to anyone who's on this panel and do it in the DMs and tell your story there, do it. But just know that you're safe and you can do it if you feel the need to.
Absolutely love that. Speakeasy podcast listeners, I hope that you were taking notes and that, not only were you taking notes, that this inspired you, because for some of you, it could be that one thing that leads to so many other opportunities opening up for you. That one thing can lead to so many other conversations and putting you in the room to do some things that you may have wanted to do since you were a child. So with that being said, anybody that's looking to connect with you, Tommy, how would they connect with you and where can they find you at online?
The best place now always Twitter and Instagram if you want to leave me messages or just send me a message and not have to do the voice thing. So that's on Twitter and Facebook. It's Teeco71. That's TEECO 71. And you can also find me on Clubhouse if you want to talk and jump into rooms that I'm jumping in. That's Tommy Gerasi on Clubhouse. And if you jump in a room and you jump on a stage and say that you're there because of me, or you're there to say something to me, I have no problem allowing you to say it if I can. If I'm one of the moderators, for sure. But people do that. You just jump on a stage like, I'm here because I saw him, and then we can talk offline if that's the way you want to do it. Some people feel more comfortable breaking the ice that way. So whatever your style is, go ahead and do it.
I love it. Whatever your style is, go ahead and do it. Speakeasy podcast listeners, I do this all for you, because guess what? Without the Speakeasy podcast listeners, there would be no hashtag Speakeasy podcast. So we thank you, each and every one of you. Let me know how this episode resonated with you by leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. And guys, listen, this is just a tidbit. I love bringing on guests like Tommy that can just speak to the human part of business, the human part of life, guys, because we got to get back to realizing that we are all just humans, and we are trying to get some things done, and we are trying to enjoy life to the greatest. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. Your host, Alcive Spelzer, your voice manager. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.